Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to Wednesday's edition of the dceu Daily, and welcome to my Batwoman Season 2 premiere reaction. There is an infestation of politicians in our industry, in our beautiful entertainment industry, and they are just interested in their political ideologies and base level representation with nothing going on beneath it. Caroline Dries, the season showrunner, in fact, the showrunner of both seasons of Batwoman, it clearly messed up the first season, right? And what do? They allow her to sack Ruby Rose, bring in Javicia Leslie, and run the second season. Now, I know it's fashionable to bash on Batwoman. I don't want to bash on anything with the DC logo on it. I don't. I actually want to blow smoke up the arse of everything that's got the DC logo. I want everything with the DC logo on it to be the best it possibly can. But I also can't come in here and lie to you and pretend that I've liked what I've seen of Batwoman. I think I saw the pilot episode of Batwoman. I think I saw one episode in the middle of the first season, and I watched the season 2 premiere. And this is what I garnered from the season 2 premiere. Javicia Leslie's performance, especially in the first part of the pilot or should I say the season 2 premiere, wasn't very good. Her face expressions were forced, terrible, unconvincing. The character seemed very unlikable in the initial element of kind of showing us what kind of character this is. This is a character, right, that sees herself as a number. This is a character who she saw her mother kicked to death by squatters who was part of Alice's gang. We saw all of this. Now, that on its own should be a great origin story for Ryan Wilder, but it's not, because it's all so terribly rushed. To see Bruce Wayne's Batmobile, and it's just a sports car, right? With some gadgets and some missiles. I don't see the grand design I saw from Snyder or from Burton, and I understand this is a really, really, low-budgeted TV series, so I've got to be understanding there a little bit. But it's literally just a sports car with gadgets. It's terrible. They come up with this idea, this Tommy guy, disguised as Bruce Wayne. That could have been a season-long arc. What do? She beats his face off and it's over. Literally, he could have enticed Ryan Wilder into his web. He could have constructed his own batsuit. They could have been running around together while he plans his disguise or to kill her or whatever, right? But no, he wants to kill her and get his suit back, which now is a Batwoman suit. Well, stone me, right? Couldn't young Fox, right? Couldn't he design his Batman suit again? So we literally could have had Batman. Or I know, we could actually have proper Batman. We know what Batman and Bruce Wayne look like now in the Batwoman universe. He could be in it. You see, Batwoman from the very beginning, from the very pilot, could have been a building of the Bat family on the CW's Arrowverse. But no, they're not interested in that. As I say, they're only interested in base level representation. So I think about women of colour who also are gay or lesbian or however you want to describe them, right? And I wonder, in the pilot episode, is Ryan Wilder or is Ruby Rose's Kate Kane in the Batwoman pilot or in season 1, the entirety of season 1, are these women that other women can look up to? Are these women even other gay women can look up to? No. First of all, the acting's very raw. Now, Smallville, my favourite DC TV show, right, cast a very raw young actor called Tom Welling. He was 24. He looked raw in the pilot. His acting was raw, you could tell. But a good director in David Nutter got him through it. And then Tom really honed in his art and became a better and better actor as the decade of Smallville went along. I didn't see this in season 1 of Batwoman. I didn't see Ruby Rose trying to improve her art, to harness her art form and become a better actor. Jesus Christ, Tom Welling became better and better. His performances became stronger and stronger as Smallville season 1 went along. This did not happen with Ruby Rose in Batwoman season 1. There's no effort because these people believe being a gay woman or being a woman is enough. Your identity is never enough. I'm a Greek Cypriot who was born and bred in the UK, who pretty much feels British, right, and sounds British. That's who I am. That's not enough. I'm a straight man. I'm 48 years old. None of this makes me viable. None of it. None of it's important. If I made a television show or a movie about that, that would be fucking boring, right? And it's the same with Batwoman and the other things these people try to do. Batwoman has been an embarrassing car crash. Do you know what I'd compare it to? The old soaps I used to watch in the mornings, Sunset Beach and Santa Barbara. Do you remember them? With the Casio keyboard music, with the kind of lame acting and directing and production values. But let me tell you something. All that was done on purpose to make it look that way. And it had a charm about it. But Batwoman doesn't have a charm about it. Batwoman has got, I think, too many supporting characters. But again, a lot of the acting is weak. I think there's a couple, is Rachel Scarsden or Skarsgård or however you pronounce her surname, really good actor. Don't know how they got her and I don't know how they got to keep her. To be perfectly honest with you, she's leaps and bounds too good for that show. But most of the cast lack a good casting coach, a good director, to come in and, try and improve these people. Because, as I say, base level representation is all they care about. And so they've given Ryan this really good, I think, good origin, but it's not crafted well at all. They don't care about it. It's like that moment and when she's talking to, I forgot his name actually, it's Lucius Fox's son or grandson or whoever he is, right? I don't know. But when the Asian woman whose name escapes me, and him, right? And then they catch Ryan and she goes, I'm a woman who lost her black woman. Sorry, say that again. I'm a woman whose black mother gave birth to her or something like that. And I'm thinking, we saw a flashback. We know your mother was a person of colour. Why is that relevant? Why is it relevant? Oh, it's relevant because you're trying to imply she was killed because of the colour of her skin. That's not true. And she says this thing like, I'm just a number, I'm nobody, right? As a socialist, I like that. As power to the people, I like that. I'm just a number, but I want to be more than the world thinks I am. The origin of superheroes, Superman, does that through his creators. In fact, I wish that when people adapt live action Superman, they would look at why and how Superman was created. It's empowerment. But that element of it has never been kind of represented in live action Superman. I hope one day someone will do that. Maybe I'll get the opportunity to do that. I doubt it, but we can all dream, right? So anyway, the elements are there to create a really interesting character, but we speed through everything, right? So in the opening sequence, we see a plane crash. Interesting, exciting. The plane crashes. This is Kate Plane's. Shall I say that again? This is the plane that Kate Kane's supposed to be on. Her Batwoman costume is found. Javicia Leslie's character finds the costume, vanishes, starts wearing it. It's just too easy, right? And a lot of critics have said as well. And I mean, I have to say to you critics who have given this past this episode of Batwoman with flying colours, either you're being bribed or you have got a very funny idea of what good acting, writing, directing and plotting or anything is. I'm ashamed of you. I really am, that you've sold your soul to Satan, right? The only way these things can improve and the industry can understand that this is not acceptable is if we're honest within our assessments of these things. I don't know Javika Leslie. I don't know what acting experience she has. Maybe she's got a great catalogue. I don't know. But her acting wasn't very good. The character development wasn't very good. So, as I say, the bits and pieces they give in the character are good. The fact that it is Alice's gang that killed her mother and she's going to want to go after Alice within the season, right? And we'll see how that pans out. I think that's interesting. But on the season 2 premiere, I can only say very few positive things. And I like the guy playing this Tommy guy or this Batman guy, this Bruce Wayne guy. Those scenes were very interesting to me. And I would have liked that kind of storyline to be an arc throughout the season, as I've already said. But no, it's just about a woman beating a man's face off, right? Female empowerment. Who knows what underlining commentary they were trying to do? So we've already had one mess of a season that doesn't work at all, right? And they allowed the same person to come back and make exactly the same mistakes again. People have not embraced your supporting characters in the first season. You made no changes and you just brought in a new actor. It is a mess the way they do it. It doesn't work. And it's interesting, isn't it, really? Because you almost miss Ruby Rose. But then there's by the end, you just forget Ruby Rose ever existed. And even when the other woman's reading the letter, right, from Kate Kane, it doesn't hold any emotion to me. And I don't know what it means to you and everybody else out there. Maybe there are proper hardcore fans of the Batwoman TV show out there. And I'd love you to come in and give me constructive reactions to what I'm saying and what you thought of season 1 and the second season thus far. But for me, it's embarrassing that this is a DC TV show. And I think this just says something about the CW, because if you want to tell a story about a gay woman of colour, at least give that community someone to look up to. Because from that first episode, it's an empty shell with nothing there. Her scenes did not work. Even though I like the fact that she's a low-level person and someone who can, empower herself and earn the right to be Batwoman. And clearly, by her giving the costume back, maybe that's something that'll happen. I doubt it with the mentality of these creatives in this industry at this moment in time. I saw a mess of a season 2 premiere, and I just listen, I will carry on watching it because I want to talk about this. Listen, the ratings are terrible, lower than the Batwoman season 1 pilot. That doesn't say much. The season 1 pilot didn't have the greatest of ratings either. Look, this show is going to be cancelled at the end of this season, and I'm also hearing rumours from my sources that CBS, I think it's CBS, are looking to sell their portion of the CW to Warner Media. This would be a godsend. Then something can actually be done with that network. I don't know what they can do with it, if there'll still be elements of DC TV on it. I don't know if they just unify it and make it a portion of HBO Max, so it's not actually a network anymore. I don't know what the plan is, but clearly CBS don't want to be. I think it's CBS, and I think they've had enough. They're not making money from the CW. It's a situation where you look already where they've cancelled Supergirl, they cancelled Arrow, so already you can see that there's a problem there, not just creatively, but financially. And so it's all about streaming now. So these kind of networks as well are in trouble anyway. But if Warner Media swallow it up, I think that will be the best thing for all concerned. And as I say, this version of Batwoman could have come from an affluent family who's kind of the member of the family that nobody likes. She left. She's got no money. She gave up the money. And somehow, she becomes part of this. Maybe she was a friend of Kate Kane's once. or something, some connection to Kate. But this is so messy and clumsy. What I would have done, I would have if I was going to come back with a second season, and I think it isn't advisable with the mentality of these people working on it, but if they insisted on season 2 of Batwoman, then I would have said reboot it, cast Javicia Leslie if you want. I wouldn't have personally cast Javicia because what I've seen isn't impressive, but maybe she'll get better. But I would have rebooted it. I would have cast Javicia Leslie as Kate Kane. That's what I would have done. And I would have either had the same people in it, but just it's from scratch, or just sack all the existing cast from the first season and recast it and do this again. But ultimately, if you're going to do a Batwoman show, build up the Bat family. Build it up. Have a Bruce Wayne. Maybe Bruce Wayne can be younger in this. Maybe Bruce Wayne is just a child. The Waynes have just been killed. And, you know, Javicia Leslie's character has to bring him up. Maybe that. I don't know. Something along those lines. Then you're saying, if Javicia Leslie's a person of colour, Bruce Wayne would have to be a person of colour. I can live with all that shit. I can live with all that. If you're doing something raw, baseline representation doesn't work. And the truth, and this is the hard truth for the modern era entertainment industry, all their representation is baseline representation with nothing underneath. I saw Lethal Weapon, where we had a black cop with a black family help a white character suffer with PTSD. This black family was warm. They had a great dynamic amongst them. That is representation with depth. A whole black family in the string of these movies. And they were part of the main portion of the film. I think the Murtaugh in the Lethal Weapon movie franchise were brilliant. They were great to watch. Great representation by Dick Donner. It worked. Eddie Murphy's Axel Foley. Great representation with comedy and depth. Coming to America. Great representation. A big African-American cast, right? Great representation. You know, when I look at these politicians in the industry today, they put down the lack of representation in the era that I grew up with, the 80s and the 90s and the early noughties. But in fact, the little representation we saw back then was done well, and it was done responsibly. The representation by these people today is irresponsible. You have created a black, gay character. You've said that she was accused for a crime she didn't commit, that she comes from poverty. This is stereotypical. Now, I know what you're trying to say, that black people are arrested for things that they don't do. I know the message you're trying to send out there, but because you're not very good at telling a story or good characterizations or good pacing, you made an absolute mess of it. So now everybody thinks you're just stereotyping black people and this black woman. So it's a mess because you don't have any idea and you're rushing this out. You're writing this thing and you're not thinking about what you're writing. And this is the problem with the entertainment industry today. And this is why Batwoman Season 1 was a mess, because they believe we've got a gay female playing a gay female and that should be enough for you. No entertainment, no good characterizations, none of it matters apart from our underlining messages. No, the entertainment industry needs to take a good look at itself, because right now they have taken, have you read the Batwoman comics? I have. She's a really compelling character. Whether it's the LGBTQ plus version or the other version, doesn't matter. The Not Wonder Woman, the Batwoman comics are awesome. And they work. Why haven't you adapted them? Why haven't you read the comics? Because there's not one person who cares about the character making this TV show. And that's the difference between Smallville and Arrowverse. Smallville were very careful and really cared about what they were doing. They wanted to create a good show. They wanted to tell a great pre-Superman story. And it worked because they took care of it. And once the CW drove our miles out, it became less of a good cohesive show. It still worked, I still followed it, but it wasn't the show our miles created. This is the mentality of these people. And this is what we're losing from the industry. A care and a craft in what we're doing. As long as you're doing baseline representations, the rest of it doesn't matter. Cast a female to play Doctor Who. Doesn't matter about depth, water her down, doesn't matter. You've got a woman on the screen, that's all that matters. We've made our point. This is all they care about. These are politicians, not storytellers. So as long as this is the case, we're all going to be going back to our DVDs of the stuff we grew up with. What's old Zack Snyder up to? Eh? What's he up to? Right, look at this, look at this. Probably can't see it, so I'll explain to you. He's unfollowed everyone and he's only following one account, which is Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is verified. That's the only account he's now following. So why is he doing this? It's a hint to us that the marketing push, the hype engine for Zack Snyder's Justice League is coming. Last week was hard for Zack with all the stuff Ray Fisher was doing and saying. It was very uncomfortable, and because he's aligned himself with the studio again, he kind of has to keep quiet. I think he did post something on Vero, a picture of Cyborg. I think that's kind of as close as I stand with Ray Fisher as you're going to get from Zack, because he can't. He's aligned himself with the studio. He needs this studio to keep on making DC content. So it's a difficult balancing act for him. But it looks like this week he's made it absolutely clear. I'm following everyone and just following Zack Snyder's Justice League, the official account. It means we are going to get some hype from that account. So please follow that account if you're excited about this film. And I am very excited to see maybe the conclusion or the continuation of the Snyderverse. We don't know. We don't know what's going on. We don't know if we're going to get more. The best thing is just to watch the hell out of it. I don't know how we're going to get that. How we're going to watch this from outside of the US. No clue. I can guesstimate to you that we'll be able to rent it on pay-per-view. I think it's unfair that in America they can subscribe to a streaming service and get a film for free, where we have to pay-per-view. You know, I had to pay $15.99 to watch Wonder Woman 1984. You did if you're outside the US. I don't think that's fair. So anyway, the hype engine is revving from Zack Snyder. Get ready. Not long till we finally see Zack Snyder's Justice League. Also, James Gunn has said he is working on the trailer. We're going to have to be patient. And he's about 2% nearly done. He's got about 2% to do of the whole Suicide Squad movie. So that's exciting. I know some people who support only the Snyderverse don't think that's exciting. And they don't want to know about it. But I do, because I'm an all-round DC fan. So I think we've got a very exciting year to come if you're a DC fan. So comment down below, like, share and subscribe. And I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.